Hello, my name is Scott Clausen, and I am with the Construction Services Division of the North Dakota Department of Transportation. Today, I will briefly talk to you about electronic tickets, which are also known as e-tickets, or more generally, e-ticketing, and how they have been and will be applied to North Dakota's construction projects. So just for starters, what is special about e-tickets? Well, basically, they're just the electronic version of a paper ticket. Every truck that delivers material to a job site currently uses a paper ticket. E-tickets is basically just the electronic version. Instead of the scale house printing one out, they use a computer to generate one that then goes into a cloud, and the inspector in the field can then open an app and download that ticket when the truck arrives and put any pertinent information that they need, such as split loads, arrival times, whether the load is accepted or rejected, any testing results. Those can all be added through various windows within the ticket itself rather than handwriting on there. So why are we going to e-tickets? Well, the number one reason is always safety. We have been fortunate enough where we have had all of our inspectors return home at the end of the day. There have been other states that have not been so lucky. Basically, e-tickets can remove an inspector from the area around the truck. At the NDDOT, we try as hard as we can to keep traffic open, even during construction projects. So if you have a truck arriving on site, they're paving one lane, there's a good chance that at some point there's going to be traffic passing by on the opposite lane. Now, if that truck arrives and the inspector has to go collect a ticket, there is a potential for that inspector coming into contact with traveling public. With e-tickets, they can stand off to the side, they can actually stand further down the road, visually inspect something else, see that the truck is arriving, mark it as complete, and basically just takes them away from harm. The next reason is efficiency. There's been numerous occasions of tickets blowing out windows, be dropped, lost. They'll come free from the stack of other tickets. You don't notice it until you go to do your final tally, that type of thing. With the electronic ticket, they're always going to be sent to the same place up in the cloud. You'll be able to find them relatively easily. There's no more illegible tickets. By that, I mean handwritten notes can often be hard to read. E-tickets, they all use a computer font that we're all used to, easy to see. There's no more coffee spillage, grease smears, exploded pens, anything like that that makes them hard to read. And then the last reason is it is actually a fairly green process. I don't know how many people have ever seen our storage areas, but the old way of doing project records was filling up boxes with paper records. E-tickets are kind of one of our last anyway, moves to paper-free processes. Pretty much everything else is electronic nowadays. The only thing is paper tickets. So e-tickets, instead of taking up a bunch of boxes in a warehouse, they'll just take up some bytes on a hard drive. They're out of the way, makes things nicer. And then the current process is at the end of the project retention period, all those records are taken, they're tossed, they're shredded. Now you can just hit the delete button and they're gone. And so it makes it a lot nicer for everyone to have them stored permanently or through the retention period on a computer in the cloud. So what do we need for success? First and foremost is buy-in from our stakeholders. That starts at the DOT level, all the way from upper management to the divisions, the districts, our inspectors in the field. And then it also includes our consultants who do a lot of our work for us, inspecting, designing, that kind of thing. And then obviously from our contractors themselves. If there's enough of them that don't want to do it, it's going to be real hard to get that. The next thing we need is a good cellular connection or Wi-Fi, or a pretty solid offline mode. So since these are digital computer-based tickets, it does require downloading from a cloud. And while we do pretty much require that Wi-Fi is present on scale houses and such things like that, so that we can always generate a ticket, depending on where that inspector is, they may or may not have a connection that can download it. So right now we're starting with projects that have pretty good cell connection, but we have also heard of other states and other vendors that are starting to develop offline modes. We've heard of a couple that are using QR codes somehow placed on a truck. The inspector can scan that somehow or another. It matches that truck information with a ticket. I'm not real sure how it works yet. But then we were also talking with a vendor very recently, and they hope to have this developed by the upcoming construction season, where they generate the ticket at the house. Somehow or another, it's passed to the inspector, whether it be given to the driver, sent by text or something like that, where basically when the truck arrives, the inspector opens up the app, types in the last 4 digits of whatever ticket number that was. The system will basically create like a dummy ticket where they can fill in any notes or any information that they need. And then once they are done, it saves it. And when they hit a cellular connection again, that dummy ticket will upload to the cloud, match with the ticket created at the weigh house, combine them, and create your digital ticket that way. We also need easy to use systems. So we found that if it takes more than 2 or 3 clicks on something, we're going to get a lot of pushback, not only from our inspectors, but from our contractors. Anyone who sees this as being harder than the way it was before is going to provide a little feedback to us on why they don't like it. We've been able to test a few different systems, and we found that they actually are pretty simple. They're very self-explanatory for the most part. I've heard of training sessions that last a half hour, if that, and a lot of it's Q&A. And the last thing we need is hardware. Obviously, we need iPads for our inspectors or iPhones. We need something at the scale house that can take what the scale is reading out, convert it to a digital ticket, and send it up into the cloud. In some cases, we might be needing GPS units. They're typically found on pavers. That's just so that when the truck arrives, we can tell where the load was dumped. We're still kind of looking into what we want to do with GPS in that regards. No final decisions there yet. So where are we at today? Well, in the last 2 seasons, we have successfully, I would say, piloted e-tickets on 3 projects. One this past year. They all went fairly well, actually. We had very good comments from our users that would like to see more of it. This year, we have also developed an SP, or a special provision for e-tickets, so that will go on any e-ticketing project for the upcoming year. We have added e-ticketing to select projects for 2023. So each district in our state has a minimum of 1. Some of them have multiple. And for this first year anyway, we have acquired the DOT portal, which is a service offered by HaulHub. Basically, what this portal does is it will take any contractor e-ticketing system and convert their tickets into one. Well, it'll take their tickets and send them to one hub or portal that we will be able to log into and view it. They call it vendor agnostic. So basically, you can take any e-ticketing system, go about your business in a normal way, and instead of having to get the contractor's login information and password, we use our own login information and password, and we can view any ticket on any project that we're assigned to. So we're hoping that this will make it very simple for our DOT staff, and also, kind of limit a headache for the contractors themselves by not constantly being bugged about, hey, why isn't our software working, that kind of thing, or what is your login, we can't get in now. And then our industry itself has actually been generally pretty acceptive of the technology. You still have your comments of, well, how is this going to affect me? We have a lot of contractors that work across state lines, and Minnesota in particular has been a little bit ahead of us in this, and a lot of the contractors that have been working with Minnesota have already purchased some sort of an e-ticketing system. We've actually been approached by a few that have been kind of wondering when we're going to get involved with the e-ticketing. I think it's because they would like to get more of bang for their buck. They already bought it, why not use it as much as we can, type of a thing. So this is one of the instances where they've actually pushed us a little bit to get going. So that's actually very nice to see. And my last slide is, where are we heading? So I already mentioned in 2023 we're doing projects in every district. For 2024, we're looking to add even more. We might play around with some areas that don't have a good cellular connection. The projects from 2023 that were identified, we tried to keep them all in good coverage areas just to kind of ease our initial headaches. But between 23 and 26, we hope to keep adding projects and different locations. Our plan is to fully implement by 2026, and I do have fully in quotation marks on purpose. We don't quite know what that means. Are we going to go statewide, no matter where it is, and do e-ticketing? Or are we going to stick to strong cellular areas? Are we going to stick to the big three material types of aggregate, asphalt, and concrete? Or are we going to expand beyond that? Right now, a lot of that is up to the industry itself. What vendors can do with offline modes, I think, will be big. Whether any of the cellular carriers expand their networks to include more of the hills and valleys that typically are dead zones nowadays. And from some of the suppliers themselves, are we going to add bridge beams, light poles, things like that? Well, that'll kind of depend more on if the industry themselves are going to e-tickets or not. Basically, right now, we're just trying to control what we can within our own state. That's what I have on e-ticketing for now. If you have any questions, you can refer back to the first slide. Let me go to that. I can be found at sclausen@nd.gov, and I will try to answer any ticketing questions you have. Thank you.